Recently, bread producers and caterers have threatened to withdraw their services nationwide due to the unprecedented increase in bakery materials and the neglect of the federal government to this matter. According to them, the cost of flour, sugar, and other materials used in bakery business has skyrocketed beyond expectations. Now, what are your general thoughts on this? Because this is not only about bread. It's about rice, plantain,
eggs,
beans, eggs, so many, the basic staple of food that we eat in Nigeria. Bread is a staple. Everybody buys bread.
Yeah,
These guys are saying it might become 1,000 naira. I was in this country when bread was 200 naira. From 200 to 250, it became 400. Now it's about 600.
400 for so long. I remember I would say, go on, your change is 600 naira. Gufran, when she was about 3 years old. Gufran is 9 now. See what they are selling bread as. Me, I'm not eating bread again.
How about the children? Are they not eating?
Not eating bread? How can your children
You know what my children do? They are very selective. So sometimes you just have to be very proactive as a parent. My children can buy a long loaf of bread, take two each, and that's okay. And you come back 3 days, bread don't spoil. We don't want to eat bread again.
What? My children will have dinner maybe around 6 p.m. Once I come in with bread, they must eat that. They'll finish one whole. I buy three. I buy 3 loaves every. Okay. Like that's how much you do. Okay. And we buy it every 2 days.
Okay.
3 loaves, and it finishes. On the same thing. So they say that this one loaf might be 1,000 naira very soon if federal government doesn't intervene.
So I can actually empathize with bread makers and bakers because caterers, the cost of flour has gone up. Many of them need to store food, and they're storing with diesel generator because there's no light. They buy their cold products, and it has to be kept. If not, it will get spoiled. They now have to throw that expense on their goods. We cannot deny that foodstuff have become very expensive. I'm one that I'm not wired to check what is in the house. I'm not. I grew up with having to not having enough. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to be measuring food for people that are living in my house. But it is biting. Like you would, there's 1 minute it's pepper has finished. I'm like, we just bought 10,000 naira. Like, what are we doing? What are we cooking? How many are we in the house? Yeah. And another, like, pepper has finished again. There's no more fish in the house. All the meat has finished. And I'm wondering, what is going on exactly? And it's now, my mindset is, I want to just increase my income. Just go and make more money. You cannot say they should not eat. You cannot say your children want to eat, but you cannot say you cannot buy them bread. Your goal is to just hustle and make more money.
And I've learned a lot from you because before, for me, it's food. It's just food. Just buy it. If it's finished, you go and get it. But it makes a lot of sense that a lot of our money, our budget goes towards food. And if you don't regulate, if you don't pay attention to it, monies that could go into reinvesting that can make you even more money for the food you'd have put into eating it. So I think it's a good thing. But I know with my husband, we argue. My husband would never want to listen to that. They say 3 days, no milk. Why? I mean, how dare you? Or you put... Me, I grew up when you are eating beans then, when I didn't know better, when they said beans was protein. If you're eating beans, you don't necessarily eat meat. You cannot do that in Mr. Longe's house. How? Every kind of food, there must be meat or fish or something, you can, especially with the children. But I think it's important that, especially that things are tight everywhere, maybe the conversation really would be, what are the decisions that we can be making right now in our homes to sort of help tide us over? But the reality right now, globally, so this is not just a Nigerian problem. When we say Nigeria happens to people, it's a global problem. And it's also life. There used to be a time when I was in secondary school, I think we used to buy Gary for 5 naira. 5 naira. I'm sure some people have never even seen the 5 naira notes. So it just... times will keep changing, and then the thing is, how do I earn more income? How do I manage properly what the income I already have to help me, have more or better for next? But that's it.
If 1 loaf of bread is 1,000 naira, I mean, in my house I buy 3 loaves. But Momo and Grandma have traveled to Ikiti. They went about 2 weeks ago, so they've gone for bread, just to go and check the house. So my house is reduced. I now have about, I think we used to be 11 minus 2. That's 9 of us left in the house now. So we can still manage. So, but I buy that every 2 days because the kids are constantly. Elizabeth can finish like like 8 slices,
Yeah.
like right
That's exactly the number. So they will say it's like a case of if
They take chunks.
we can't take, it won't go around. 3 people, 8 the bread.
And I have 4 kids. So it's like,
What I would hear about Oyinbo people then is after the Second World War, things were so tight. A lot of people used to have to make their food, make their bread, sew their clothes. So, I don't know, we may have to start thinking of all these things that we give out to people and pay them. We will start thinking of how we make them for ourselves. Bread, people will have to start thinking of making bread for yourself.
Yam
you
has
still have to
also
buy the
become-
materials. It's still
Yam has
expensive.
also become so expensive.
Yes, because
And yam is
yam.
an alternative to bread for me. Yam potatoes, they are alternatives. They become so expensive. Yam too. If you don't buy,
What about crate of
cheapest yam are
eggs?
2,000.
Yes.
crate of
So I have someone
I bought crate of egg in this Lagos at 700 naira.
Yes.
Now it's about 1,000 naira or 2,000.
It's 2,100.
Imagine that.
Because I know that my ex-supplier, I remember when he said, oh, sorry, the
get
prices
it
have
from
changed, it's now 2,000. In 2 weeks, it's like, well, sorry, please, it's now 2,100.
200.
So,